Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Syntaur, and this is a quick parts video to do with the Polysix. I'm going to go over the pieces that you need in order to basically rebuild the front panel of this PCB, that is. So we have here, this is where all the tact switches go, those cool Jupiter 8 style chiclet buttons, which of course were also on the Korg Trident. They're on the Korg Trident, they were on the Monopoly and the Polysix, of course. They were also on the Jupiter 6, so they really have a good cool retro vibe to them. But what do you do when they break and they need service? So here's how you do it. Basically, we have the board and we've taken off the assembly underneath each tact switch, which consists of that little chiclet cap, which I've taken off and keep separately. And then there are these plastic frames which live underneath, and the plastic frames house the tact switch inside. And here's the tact switch in question, right? And the tact switches go like this with the, these tabs vertical like that, and they just ride inside like so, and the chiclet goes on that square. And okay, so what do? Replacing these tact switches, we've covered it before. You can actually buy from Mouser, or which way you want to say it, replacement tact switches fairly affordably, and here is that part number once again. So that's what you need: 12 by 12 millimeter long service life. Omron, they're called, and they'll do the trick. They fit perfectly within these frames, so we're good to go. Now, the next thing, of course, is that when you are servicing these frames, if you replace any one of them or replace any of the LEDs with modern ones, and incidentally, here is a fully acceptable replacement, which is the King Bright standard LED, and I just basically bought a bag of them from Mouser again. And here they are, and just make sure you put them in the right way, because they're modern high-efficiency LEDs. If you replace just one of them, you should replace all of them so that there's no difference. Of course, if you want to put blue ones in, you can, or get silly and mix and match, go ahead. I'm going with classic red. You'll also want to replace these guys on the lucite pipes, because they are going to be a different brightness as well. So, okay, so we've covered the LEDs now, the switches and the LEDs, but what about these frames? Now, when one of these frames fails, it's a very unfortunate thing. For example, here's one that broke on me. And as you can see, there's really not a whole lot holding the square part onto the rest of the frame. Now, when this breaks, it's almost impossible to fix. I mean, I suppose you could get creative with pouring on things like Loctite or epoxy or some sort of mucilage, or maybe even something like Sugru or something like that, and that might just do the trick. But wouldn't it be great if you could just buy a replacement for cheap, like say $3.95? Well, it so happens you can. Here it is, and this is a dead ringer for the one used in the Korg Polysix and probably the Monopoly too. And guess what it is? It is actually a Motif 6 frame, and it comes from a Motif 6 synthesizer, and probably also works for the 6ES and whatever else. But that part number is a genuine Yamaha part. I bought 6 of them, and here's the box they came in. See, genuine Yamaha part. That is a Yamaha part, but I recommend, rather than trying to source them from Yamaha, you get them from the same source that I got them from, which is our good friends at Syntaur.com. And Syntaur.com sells these for $3.95 each. So there's 19 of them in the whole Polysix, so it could get a little bit pricey replacing every single one of them, but I really doubt you're going to need to. I just got a couple because I wanted just to be proof against these actually getting broken along the way. So anyway, there is your replacement part, and it comes with the LED, modern one, of course. So, and as you can see, that LED is brighter looking and newer and so on and so forth, and I bet it's higher efficiency than the old one. So we've covered that. Okay, great. So now we know how to replace. We know how to source the switches. We know how to source the frames. We know how to source the LEDs. So we're well and away here. But while I'm talking about Syntaur, I should probably tell you some other things that I bought from them, because I want to share this news with you. As you probably know, I do a lot of Juno 106 rebuilding, and this is a Juno 106 brand new bender paddle with the set screw, and this cost me all of it's the bender lever with set screw. This was $16.95. So, okay, $16.95 is a bit expensive for a piece of plastic, but then you try getting one of these on eBay and you'll discover that you're going to spend the same amount of money for an old one that's been through the wars. If the bender isn't your problem, or you want the full assembly, you can also get a brand new built bender frame. And this bender frame, of course, goes with, and this one is $6.95. So if you need one of these, it's $6.95 for a new one from Syntaur. And let's not forget the spring. The spring is a $3.95 product. So $3.95 will get you the spring. So again, if you have a broken bender for your Juno 106, these are great parts and you can get them from Syntaur.com. And one other thing I got from Syntaur.com, just because I'm lazy and didn't want to go figuring it all out, was this set of 4 screws. And anybody who owns a Juno 106 will know what these are. These are the mythical side screws, the ones that get lost really quickly because of the hinge action. These sets were, the little package of screws was $3.95. So I got a couple of them just because I'm constantly getting in a Juno 106 that's missing these, or missing 1 or 2, or has really terrible screws, put it in instead. So there you go. That's all I really wanted to share with you today. Just some heads up on switches and parts. And we're going to get on with actually reassembling this guy now and move on to getting that Kiwi Technics mod, the Kiwi 6 upgrade going. So stay tuned.